How I've been into podcasting.
I'm sorry.
How often you do do come into podcasting?
Yeah, so I've been doing podcast interviews for the last 4 years since
Oh,
I started
wow.
my business. But I just started my own podcast in fall of 2024.
Wow.
So yeah, my colleague and I have
Hmm.
a podcast called Business Words, and
Lovely.
I'm a ghostwriter, so I play with words. And
Hmm.
so we take words from our audience and words from our interviewees, and we
Great.
discuss how they relate to business.
Lovely. Great. Great. So, yeah. Let's start. Um, hey, friends, welcome back to another inspiring episode of Healthy Mind, Healthy Life. I'm your host Avik, and today we are diving into a topic that's incredibly close to my heart. It is entrepreneurship and its life changing impact on individuals with the physical disabilities. So, joining us is someone who embodies the resilience, passion, and the purpose.
Thank you. I'm happy to be here. I think we have been disconnected.
Hi, Maya. Welcome to the
Hi.
show again. Yeah, yeah. So, I have to say, dear listeners, Maya is the founder of Connected Ghostwriting LLC and Journey to Success Incorporation, a nonprofit dedicated to helping disabled entrepreneurs build and scale businesses that align with their health and the values. So Maya's story is one of the transformation, like from being medically retired due to neuromuscular conditions to rebuilding her life through entrepreneurship. So she is now a successful writer, coach, and the disability advocate. And her journey isn't just about overcoming the challenges, but it's all about redefining what's possible. So, with this, Maya, welcome to the show, and I'm beyond excited to share your wisdom with our listeners today.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Lovely, lovely. So Maya, your story is so inspiring. I mean, if you can share, like, what role did entrepreneurship play in your journey to reclaim your life and redefine your career after being medically retired?
Yes. So but my previous life, I worked in
Uh-huh.
education and I taught fifth grade. I worked as a literacy specialist for a number of years. I taught teachers
Uh-huh.
and I did a bunch of curriculum development work. Um,
Yeah.
and in 2019, I developed a
Mm.
neuromuscular condition. I actually have two: myasthenia gravis and chronic inflammatory demyelinating polyneuropathy.
Okay.
And the combination of those two paralyzed me in November of 2019.
Mm-hmm.
And at that point, the only thing that was working were my hands. So I started writing and
Mm.
publishing online. Um, and as I slowly recovered from that bout of paralysis, I've had a
Mm.
couple since then. Um, but as I recovered from that, I started making some
Mm.
money writing, and I said, "Oh, maybe there's something else here."
Mm.
Fast forward, a year and a half, and I am medically retired from teaching by the
Okay.
Teachers Retirement Board. I'm still having bouts of paralysis and flares where I'm unable to walk.
Mm.
And writing sort of became not just something I loved to do, but it was also helping me make a little bit of money. Um,
Mm.
the day I got the letter from the Social Security Administration here in the US that said,
Mm.
we are denying your claim for disability because we think you can work in some capacity. I was on
Mm.
a call with them and I asked what programs existed to help me learn a new career because I had been
Mm.
teaching my entire life. Um,
Yeah.
and they laughed and said, "Oh, we don't do that."
Mm.
And so that was the day I decided that I was going to start the nonprofit that I was just able to launch. And that was 4 years ago now. Um, so I'm very excited to finally be doing that. But because of the support I had from my family, I was able to just start figuring it out. I initially started applying for other jobs that I thought I might be able to do. But because of my medical needs, I needed days off for medical treatments and things like that. I wasn't able to find a regular job that would accommodate my disability. And
Mm.
there's actually a lot of research out there
Mm.
that people who are disabled, who start their own businesses and engage in entrepreneurship, are much more successful financially, but they also have better health outcomes.
Mm.
And I find that research very interesting. It certainly holds true for me. At this point, my business is thriving. I've also been able to recover physically to a point
Mm.
where we think one of my conditions is going into remission.
Mm.
And the role that entrepreneurship played in that is, I don't subscribe to the idea that entrepreneurs have to work 12 or 16 hours a
Mm.
day
Mm.
to make it happen. I have been able to use entrepreneurship more flexibly so that it supports my medical needs. So if I need a day
Mm.
off for a medical appointment, that's fine. I work the next day.
Yeah.
If I have a day where I need to run meetings from my bed,
Mm.
I can do that. I just leave my camera
Yeah.
off. And so the flexibility of entrepreneurship, I think, is what makes it so important for people with disabilities.
Mm. Exactly. I totally agree on this. Yep. Yep. And also, like you have mentioned that entrepreneurship can be a lot learning to walk again. I mean,
Yes.
wobbly and full of stumbles. So I
Yeah.
mean,
Yeah. If you
yeah,
watch a toddler learn how to walk, they take those
yeah,
first timid steps, right?
yeah, yeah.
And that's like when we first start talking about
Mm.
entrepreneurship. And then maybe we want to start a business. And so maybe we
Mm.
do. And then we fall down a few times.
Understood. Understood. So, I mean, what advice do you have for someone who's in the early, uncertain stages of building a business, especially while managing the disability?
So the first thing, and I am actually working with a woman right now through our nonprofit, and we're helping
Okay.
her do exactly this. So
Mm.
the first thing I do is I have entrepreneurs make a list of all of the things they need to
Mm.
do every day to build and run their business. And that
Yeah.
includes everything from work, like doing the actual work, whatever the business is. If
Mm.
you're a coach, if you're a bookkeeper, doing the
Yeah.
actual work, that's part of it.
Mm.
But there's also networking and marketing and
Mm.
finance things that need to happen every day. And so we start off by making a
Mm.
list of all of the things that you do as a business owner or that you would
Yeah.
do as a business owner. And then
Mm.
I ask the entrepreneurs I work with to highlight the top 20% of those things. So if there's 100 things on the list, then they're
Mm.
highlighting 20 things that are within their realm of expertise that they're really good at, that they can do quickly, and that isn't
True.
stressful for them.
Mm.
Okay. And that list is going to be different for everybody because we all have different areas of genius.
Mm.
And you might not be able to delegate the 80% of things that are
Mm.
not in your area of genius right away.
Mm.
But what I do with the entrepreneurs I work with is we work on delegating some of those pieces.
Mm.
And so we take that 80%, which is
Okay.
the things that you are not very good at, that you're not
Mm.
particularly fast at, that you don't enjoy
Mm.
doing. And we rank them by which ones take you the most time. Because the
Mm.
biggest obstacle to entrepreneurship for people with disabilities is time. We can't typically work a
Mm.
40-hour week, 50-hour week, or a 60.
Yeah.
And so if we can offload some of those responsibilities and save the entrepreneur some time that they can
Mm.
use for that high level strategy that is required for entrepreneurship for C-suite executives,
Mm.
they're going to build a business faster.
Understood. Understood. Yeah. And also, like, one of the biggest challenge for the disabled entrepreneurs is balancing the health and needs with the demands of the running a business. So,
Yes.
so what are some of the strategies or maybe the symptoms that you have found effective in creating that balance?
So I actually, this was the one of the first conversations I had with one of my other clients.
Uh-huh.
Um, when we started working together, she said to me, well, I usually work about 15, 20 hours a week. That's about what I can handle. And she said, but if you need me to do more, I'll do more. And this was someone who was managing multiple sclerosis and had young children. So I said to her, I said, if you're working 20 hours a week and managing MS and you have small children, I think you're working full time. And so what happens then in order to balance that is we have to know what our non-negotiables are for managing our health. So for me, strength training several times a week, getting out for walks, those are central to managing my health. The days that I have my infusion treatments, those cannot be work days for me. That's a non-negotiable. And so getting really clear on what those non-negotiables are and how much time they take allows you to
Mm-hmm.
see how much time is left that you can
Hmm.
use to build your business.
Okay. Okay. And like, so how do you encourage entrepreneurs to prioritize their health without being like they are sacrificing the growth of their business?
So prioritizing your health without
Mhm.
sacrificing the growth of your business. That's a funny question for me because
Okay.
your business can only be as successful as you are.
Hmm.
Your business will reflect what's going on in your life. And so if you are struggling, your business will struggle. If you are someone who avoids confrontation, you will avoid confrontation in your business. If you are
Hmm.
someone who is a people pleaser, you're going to give away your services for free and not charge enough. So
Hmm.
I don't see taking care of your health as taking away from your business at all. The
Hmm.
more my health improved, the more
Hmm.
hours I had to dedicate to my business.
Yeah.
Right. And so when I first started, I had about 5 hours a week that I could work.
Hmm.
And at this point, I can work 30 to 40 hours a week, but I don't
Hmm.
typically. And that's with running both my ghostwriting business and the nonprofit. Um,
Hmm.
I choose to spend those hours in other
Yeah.
activities that improve my health even more because I've seen the return on investment there.
Yeah. Agree. Totally agree on this. Yes. And Maria, like you also run connected ghostwriting, like as you mentioned. So where you help thought leaders articulate their ideas and expand their impact. So how has storytelling and writing, uh, played a role in helping your clients, especially those with the disabilities, and find their voice?
Can you repeat that again? I didn't quite catch the first part of the
Oh,
question.
okay. So how has, writing and storytelling played a role in helping your clients who are into disabilities or find their voice?
So
Mm-hmm.
when someone is starting a business, especially a service-based business in today's market,
Yeah.
one of the things that has to happen is we
Mm-hmm.
have to show up as ourselves in those businesses. Because when people hire me, for example, to write their
Mm-hmm.
books, they're not just hiring me because I'm a ghostwriter. They're hiring me because of who I am and I'm a
Mm-hmm.
ghostwriter,
Yeah.
right? And so one of the most difficult things that I see people I work with on their books and articles and things like that is they try to
Mm-hmm.
present almost a too polished version
Okay.
of themselves
Mm-hmm.
because they're afraid that if they
Mm-hmm.
say, oh, well, my first business failed, or the first time I tried this, it didn't work and I lost money. If they're afraid that if they say that, negatively impact their credibility,
Mm.
when the opposite is actually true,
True.
right? So one of the first things I do with anyone I'm working with is
Mm.
we really have a conversation about who they want to show up as a thought
Mm.
leader. And that doesn't mean you have to say everything about your life.
Mm. Yeah.
I'm on social media. There's plenty out there. You'll know I'm a
Mm.
mom. You'll know I'm a disability advocate. You'll know I'm a writer. You'll know
Mm.
plenty about me. But there are
True.
still certain pieces of my life that are just for me and my family. And that's okay. And helping people decide where that line is
Mm.
gives them the freedom to then say, okay, I'm going to share these parts. I'm going to keep this private. And so when I'm writing, when I'm looking for my voice, anything in this wheelhouse is fair game.
Yeah. Wow. That's so lovely. Yeah. And do you think that storytelling is especially important for disabled entrepreneurs who might face unique challenges in gaining visibility and credibility?
I do. And I'm going to tell you a story from
Mm. Mm.
actually last month.
Yeah.
So last month I was sick. And when I
Mm.
catch a cold or anything like that, because I have an autoimmune
Mm.
condition, my whole body kind of stops working properly.
Okay.
And I had to move meetings, I had to cancel meetings. But
Mm.
because my clients and the people in my network
Mm.
know who I am, they know my story,
Mm.
and they know what I'm navigating as far as disability and health. When I have
Mm.
to do that, I don't get kickback. I don't have people canceling orders. I don't have people saying, well, I'm not going to work with you if you're not showing up to
Yeah.
the meeting. Um, there's a lot more compassion, and it also helps people who aren't good at compassion self-select out, and they're not working with you, and that's okay because they're not your people.
Mm. True. Exactly. And like, uh, I mean, for someone who is listening right now, who might feel overwhelmed or maybe uncertain about starting their own business while managing a disability, then what's the one thing you would say to encourage them to take that first step?
I love logic, and so
Okay.
I would say two things.
Mm.
The first thing I would say is there
Mm.
is a huge body of research that
Okay.
shows that entrepreneurs, that people with
Mm.
disabilities who use
Mm.
entrepreneurship as a
Mm.
path to financial stability
True.
experience greater financial success than people who do
Mm.
not.
Okay.
Um, you don't have to buck up against workplaces that don't want to accommodate your
Mm.
needs. But on top of that,
Mm.
the health outcomes for disabled people who go into
Yeah.
entrepreneurship, who run their own businesses, are so much better than the health outcomes for people who try to stay in regular
Mm.
jobs working for someone else.
Mm.
And I think the reason for that is the flexibility.
Okay.
Because when you're working for someone else, it's
Mm.
hard to take a day off. It's hard to move a meeting around because
Mm.
you need to go to the doctor. And
Mm.
so just that's just it's a path to a better way of living as someone with a disability. And
Mm.
you also, if you're an entrepreneur, you get to make your
Mm.
company's policies. And so one of the things that I've been able to do through connected ghostwriting is I've been able to
Mm.
employ other people with disabilities.
Oh.
And so for me, not like
Mm.
it made a better life for me, for my family, but then I'm also able to give that same or a similar opportunity to other people with disabilities because I
Mm.
understand the need for accommodations in a way that other
Mm.
employers don't. And so if we want to change the employment landscape for people with
Mhm.
disabilities, we need to do that by starting our own businesses and being the
Okay.
places that employ those people.
Hmm. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. That's great. That's lovely. Yeah. Lovely. Maria, so thank you so much for sharing your incredible story and the mission with us today. And definitely, you have shown us that entrepreneurship isn't just about building businesses, but it's all about building the lives, no matter the challenges we face. So, um, dear listeners, uh, here's my challenge to you. Like, reflect on the obstacles in your life and think about how entrepreneurship could help you overcome them. Whether you have a disability or not, Maria's story reminds us that our struggles can become the foundation of our greatest strengths. So, with this, as always, don't forget to subscribe to Healthy Mind and Healthy Life and leave us a review and share this episode with someone who needs to hear Maria's message. And together, we can create a world where everyone, regardless of ability, can succeed. So, until next time, this is your host Avik reminding you to build a healthy mind and a healthy business and a healthy life. So, take care and see you soon. Thank you so much.